How is the West going to do in the battle of civilizations?
America is losing its power and standing in the world.
Is America in decline? And how do you go about thinking about that question?
Did you take the time to discover the actual underlying cause?
He alone who owns the youth gains the future.
You first need to define the problem.
People in other parts of the world are not teaching their young children to hate their own country.
Critical race theory concepts are contained in some social emotional learning programs.
Like there's an ideology associated with it because they have been groomed and brainwashed into a belief system.
To do just what our enemies intend.
Step 2 is to collect data about the situation.
Follow the money and put together financial profiles of either people or groups, and the information could be used actually in court.
Evers has enacted new education policies without the Department of Administration.
We have all these initiatives. We have to have time to implement them.
We have evidence that Evers is not following state law.
The school is trying to incorporate equity and gender identity into all its subjects. Equity is a radical anti-American philosophy that demands equal outcomes for everyone. That's communism.
For communism to work, we had to have a big government. The government would come in and collect all the resources, the means of production, and then distribute them evenly.
Now Governor Tony Evers wants to do the same by creating a chief equity officer position in the state.
What conditions allow this problem to occur?
When I became president, I signed an executive order to advance equality and racial justice to the whole of the federal government.
It's just like building a house, right? You got to have a really solid foundation.
Facilitated by money.
What events led to this problem?
It's been a long time coming.
The Communist Manifesto was published in 1848.
At this defining moment,
when Karl Marx created communism, he had this idea of capitalism being evil.
The task is not just to understand the world, but to change it.
Change has come to America.
Misery motivates, not utopia.
Race remains a potent and often divisive force in our society.
Drive revolution in society.
If every economic issue is framed as a struggle between a hardworking white middle class and an undeserving minority,
this would lead to socialism, where we would see the bridge gap between the different classes.
Workers of all shades are going to be left fighting for scraps while the wealthy withdraw further into their private enclaves.
And then eventually another kind of revolution, and we would get to communism.
If you can cut the people off from their history, then they can be easily persuaded.
You engage the way the students engage with you.
We are trained Marxists.
Bottom line, advancing equity is not a one-year project. It's a generational commitment.
It's time to identify the root cause. Because when you deal with the root cause,
communism will be put in place, and then a dictator or a big government will take over.
What can you learn about it?
Unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of examples of communism working.
To remind everyone to be mindful of and not repeat history.
People give up too much individual freedoms, and corruption normally comes in.